Hey guys, today we're going to look at our intro to slope. This whole grid and unit is going to be centered around slope. We're going to look at what slope is, and then we're going to rewind and look at some previous skills that you need in order to be successful in this unit. So, slope, the definition of slope is the measure of steepness of a line. And as we progress through this unit, you guys are only going to add on to your definition and knowledge of slope. So, we like to think of it as the rise of a line, or it going up and down, and that's going to be divided by the run of a line. That's going to side. So what does it even mean, rise over run? Well, think about it. It's like stairs, right? When you go upstairs, you go up the stair and then over. Up the stair and over. Up the stair and over. Up the stair and over. You guys see my stairs? Where going up was the rise and going over was the run. Rise, run, rise, run. All right, so let's back up. That was slope. Like I said, you're going to get a handful of definitions and you're going to build on that knowledge. But before we can do that, let's review some previous skills. And hopefully you're sectioning off your notes just like I am. All right, so the first skill, notice when we took a look at slope, we had rise divided by run. That is also a fraction. So one skill that we need to review is how to simplify fractions, because that is definitely going to come in handy. So remember, if we're using our calculator, we are going to do, so let's say we have the fraction -5 over 10. Steps, if we wanted to simplify that fraction, we would need to do, in your calculator, enter the numerator, then we would need to enter the button ABC, and then we would need to enter the denominator. All right, so let's review how to do that. I have my calculator here. Hopefully you grab yours, and I'm going to move it just in case if you need those steps still. Okay, so our example was -5 over 10. So I'm going to turn my calculator on, enter -5. Remember that ABC button is right here underneath PRB. So ABC, and then we have our 10. And then the last step, I'm going to hit enters. And if you check on your calculator, hopefully it's on yours as well. In order to simplify it, it equaled -1/2. And let's add that step to our steps, just so you do not forget to enter the equals button. Perfect. So if I wanted to simplify another fraction, let's say I had, that was an example. Let's look at another example. Let's say I had 3 over 24. Same thing. I'll grab my calculator, enter 3, that ABC button, which is right here below the PBR, 24 equals 1/8. All right, so simplifying fractions. definitely going to come in handy. Another review that you guys learned last year in 7th grade that will come up while we're looking at slope is proportional relationships in tables. So go ahead and write that down. So remember, when we had a table, let's say you had a vertical table, and on the left side we had X, and on the right side we had Y, and let's say my table starts with 1/6, 2/12, 3/18, and 4/24. So in order to check if this table was proportional, what did you guys do last year? Hopefully, as you're thinking about it, we did steps. We always did y divided by x. And we checked the table each time to see if when we did y divided by x, we got the same number each time. So our second step, check table to see if when we divide, it equals the same number each time. Now remember, if yes, so if yes, we divide each time and it's the same, then yes, our relationship is proportional. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this table that we have on the left. Okay, y divided by x. So I have 6 divided by 1. Well, that equals 6. Now I have 12 divided by 2. That equals 6. Now I have 18 divided by 3. That equals 6. And lastly, I have 24 divided by 4. That equals 6. Okay, we have 6, 6, 6, 6. If yes, proportional. Okay, we divided. Each time it equals 6. So yes, this table is proportional. At some point in time, you guys will see tables as we apply it to slope. All right. The next important skills that we need to review. We didn't do a whole lot of graphs in 7th grade, but you guys did do some graphing in 6th grade. So remember, graphs. I'm going to go ahead and make this big plus sign. And this represents a graph. Remember, from going this left-right axis is my x-axis, and I believe you guys are reviewing this in science as well. And then this up and down line is our y-axis. And when we're speaking of quadrants, this is our first quadrant where we live in our x-axis is positive and our y-axis is positive. Okay, moving over to the left is our second quadrant. Here, we live in a world where our x-axis is negative, but our y-axis is positive. Moving on down, we have our third quadrant. And in this third quadrant, our x-axis is negative and our y-axis is negative. Last but not least, we have our fourth quadrant. And in this quadrant, our x-axis is positive, but our y-axis is negative. So hopefully you have that labeled. That's super important. And then the last review skill we're going to talk about is plotting points. I'm just flipping my page. Hopefully you're making a new section. So plotting points. And we reviewed this a little bit going through that graph. Remember, we always start when we have a point, our first number is representative of our x, or our number on the x-axis, and our second number is representative of our y-axis. So when we plot points, our steps, we're always going to start with our x-axis number, and we'll look at that in a moment when we practice plotting some points. And our x-axis are numbers that run left to right. Once we find our x-axis number, then we will move up or down based on our y number. And again, our y goes up or down. All right, so let's see how that plays out. So again, let's go ahead and draw ourselves a graph. And whenever you guys are plotting points, your teachers will provide you a graph. So make sure you get that like big plus sign that looks like our 4 quadrants. And we're gonna quick make an outline. So let's give our graph some numbers. So we're gonna start here, and we're just gonna make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because again, this is our x-axis. And then we're gonna go down our x-axis and plot some negative numbers. So -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. Remember, this point right here is 0, 0. So now we're gonna take a look at our build the y-axis of our grid. And same thing, we're just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure we're labeling our numbers, and then we're gonna go down to our negatives. -1, -2, -3, -4. All right, so let's say we are given the point. So you will see directions that say something like plot the point. Let's start with 3, -3, 2. Okay, so remember, our first number is representative of our x. So I'm going to start on my x-axis and find -3. Do not plot your point yet, because now we need to go, our dot is going to go based on where our second number is as well. So we're at -3. And now we have a +2. So we're gonna go up +2. 1, 2. Boom. That is where our point is. We can call this point A. Go ahead and label it A. Let's try plotting another point. This time, let's plot the number 4, 2. I don't know why, but I'm liking these two. So again, our 4 is on our x-axis, and I'm gonna find where +4 is. Now I need to take a look at my y-axis, and it's 2, so I'm going to go back to my 4, go up to my 2, and plot the point. Let's call this B. All right, last point we're going to plot today. Let's try plotting -3, 5. And we'll call this point C. So again, I'm going to start with my x-axis. I'm going to find -3, and then I have 5. Oh, we didn't even make 5 on our graph. Let's make a 5. So we have -3. I'm going to go up to 5, plot my point, and we're calling it C. So again, guys, based on where your x is, based on where your y is, you're going to plot that point. Go ahead and check your grids. We have a review worksheet for you guys, so you can, before we build our knowledge on slope, we want to practice simplifying fractions, checking proportional relationships in tables, getting more familiar with our graphs, and plotting points.